Hello everybody, my name is Richard Slater and I'm the publisher of Lancashire Business View magazine, and welcome to this, the third in our Reset, Recharge and Recover webinars.
So Workspace evolved from me purchasing the Watermark. It was an old United Utilities building, which I wanted to house my office inside. I then realized the demand for flexible office space, because in times like this, certainly uncertain times, businesses need to be flexible, agile, and they need to have certainty in their cash flow. So what we provide is one invoice at the beginning of the month, so at least businesses get to sort of budget their operational expenses and capital expenditure from the offset. I then sort of saw the old Docks House. It was a prestigious building. It was laying derelict for a few years. So I had an idea to sort of bring it back to life with 30 luxurious office spaces, and that's how the brand evolved.
So the model, you obviously liked the model. I mean, I look at Workspace and it's got a variety of different occupancy models. Perhaps you could explain those to us.
Yeah, so we are the leading commercial office space provider in Preston. We own over 70,000 square foot of great office, industrial and workshop premises. We currently are housing 120 businesses across our centres. Our network of 5 business centres enables us to offer a range of spaces from tattoo parlours all the way up to large law firms, and giving them the flexibility to go in for a smaller 6-month period all the way up to 3 to 5 years. I see the pandemic as a great accelerator. What the trends that we were going to see in 10 to 15 years time, I think we're going to see over a shorter 5 years time. What I'm seeing a lot is the decentralization of large offices. What we're going to get is more of the regional hub and spoke model, where you've got the smaller regional teams will be working from a hybrid office, almost like nearby they want to cycle to work, or maybe sort of nearby with a small team, and then they'd go off to the headquarters a few times a month to sort of brainstorm and network. So the office landscape has changed immensely over the last few months, because the focus has been now on the employee's well-being as opposed to the company. So now you're going to see the employee and the modern worker now wants choice, flexibility, and experience. So we're almost going to have, that's going to put a lot of pressure onto the office buildings, because they need to be more of an experiential hub, because employees want to be, it needs to be inviting to the employees to want to come back to work after a long period of working from home. It's been challenging. It's been one of the most challenging times of my working career. Obviously, overnight, we just saw our centres sort of empty out because of the government guidelines to work from home. So obviously, as time evolved and people realized that working from home isn't the solution or isn't a long-term solution, what we found is we've actually onboarded quite a few new clients who've actually wanting now to sort of smaller incubator spaces, want the privacy, and home is almost your sanctuary. So you don't want to bring the stresses of work into your home life. So what people have done is, yeah, it needed to be done because we had no other choice. But I think as we're coming out of lockdown, people have realized that almost the office space itself will be more of a social space now. We can work from home, but we want to go into, I've seen some clients who've bought in some pool tables, some ping pong tables. So they'll come in, they'll have a brainstorm, they'll have a sort of a gathering meeting, they'll sort of have a social event, and then everyone will go off and do their own work from home, and sort of, it's almost like a hybrid solution, which we'll see a lot of now. Like I mentioned, I think we are in a good position as a flexible office provider, because in times of uncertainty, businesses want flexibility and agility. What we provide is almost like a sample sort of space where somebody wants a small office for their team in their local area. So what I see the office as is almost like a go-to place for sort of collaborative events. So the office will have a purpose, but not in the old sense where you just went and did the work, because the work you can do from home anyway. But here we're social beings, humans are social beings. We want to network, we want to collaborate, and that's when we get great ideas. So there's been research on people working from home, suffering mental health issues, loneliness, paranoia. We know we are productive at home, but I think it's almost an engagement issue.
I think people have moved at a pace faster than they would have done. They've reviewed operating models and business models and looked at their consumer journey, very similar to what Riz was saying in terms of what clients have done. I think funding has been a big part of it, so I'm delighted to say, that I've been involved with that. And to give them comfort, I think the government schemes have been absolutely key. But now the mindset really has been, and I'm seeing the positivity from customers in terms of looking forward. And it may be that it's pent up demand, and I think that's going to be the telling factor. Is it a fact that it's pent up, or is it sustainable in the longer term, which will be determined by external factors. But from what businesses can do themselves, they've prepared, they've done the PPE element, they've done the preparation in terms of protecting their staff, in terms of reopening businesses, utilising the furlough scheme and bringing staff back gradually where that's the case, and adapting. And I've been impressed at the agility and the way that businesses have really adapted to it, and the general feeling is quite positive. I think there's a lot of uncertainty there. It'd be wrong to kind of ignore that, but generally businesses have adapted. I've seen customers that have got parts that are direct, retail sort of elements, and they've adapted to going out direct to the consumer. They've just accelerated some of those strategies that were possibly medium term, and they've brought them forward, and changed the way that they do business. And quite a lot of them have made up gaps that they would have found from lower footfall, etc.
Pre-COVID, there was a definite shortage of really good applicants, or we were finding the unemployment was at a really, really low historical amount. What we're seeing now is there is a lot of talent out there, and some of the talent is a lot more affordable for companies due to the employment market. But what we are actually seeing now is across the board, people are starting to plan for what the workforce is going to look like in the future. And in a lot of cases, that is different to what they've historically worked with us and worked with themselves on. So they might be putting more money into production. We're seeing a lot of activity in marketing. We're actually seeing quite a lot of companies who do have an online presence looking at markets outside the UK, which is really exciting. So language skills. So yeah, we're changing because we're having to change, and we're having to listen a lot, but there is some good jobs out there. There's some good opportunities. So what I would say is, if anybody is out there and they're feeling disillusioned because they've been made unemployed or they've been made redundant, there's definitely going to be some good opportunities for people going forward.
I guess, first of all, particularly in this current crisis, I would say, my number one tip would be, it's okay for business leaders to say, we don't know, because we do live in very uncertain times. And particularly at a time like this, I think things like trust become very, very important. So how do we create a culture where we are promoting a culture of health? And it's a culture of intrinsic motivation, I guess. So, we've already heard about some of this from Rizwan in terms of what they do, but, using the physical built environment and making sure that we embed wellbeing messages. So healthy eating advice or healthy snacks on offer in canteens. Offer a room up for a lunchtime class. Start a walking group if you have some green space around you. There are companies that emphasize preventative measures, which are also quite good. So I know of a company that has an unsick day, which is a day off that must be dedicated to preventative care. So whether then staff go and use that to do some volunteering because it makes them feel better, or they go and do something physical because that's their chance to get out. Encourage proper breaks.
Keeping your brand light on is smarter than turning it off and turning it on again later. And that's strategically the smart thing to do. Think differently. If you do what everyone else is doing, you'll get standard results and not distinguish yourself from competition. Break industry norms, be a disruptor, and innovate where possible. We're currently working with a few new clients and identifying those kind of opportunities.
Sorry, I'm disrupting. I'm not innovating, but I'm disrupting. Carry on.
It's really interesting actually seeing the reactions when we present suggestions that have come out of the research. So I would say spend some more time on researching your competitors. probably see what they are doing, but equally as important, see what they're not doing as well. I think it is going to be a tough time. I think looking at your comms and how you do it, if there's anything that you can do differently. Again, I mentioned before, don't go dark, keep your brand out there, keep on your socials, keep liaising with your customers, look at potentially different ways of communicating with your customers as well.
If you've not yet had that conversation with Boost, you really need to have a strong word with yourself and ask yourselves why. So I'd encourage more people to go off and reap the benefits of just starting that conversation. It's not about us promising that we're going to make everything perfect, because we know we're in challenging times. But believe me, I think having a conversation with someone that's fairly neutral, independent, isn't in your business, will shine lights on possibly areas which you've not yet considered. So the one message I want from everyone on this call, if you've not had a conversation with Boost, ring that number, have a chat, and see how it goes. Like I say, you're not losing much anyway. It's a 10-minute conversation. If it doesn't go anywhere, you've not lost that much. But I would suggest it will go a long way. Keep your eyes peeled on Boost, because government will be releasing new funds, new activities. And we are in conversations at the moment about what those services might look like, what sort of partners we need to help deliver out those issues that kind of businesses are telling us are so important. So we're not quite there yet, but there are a couple of things already in the pipeline in terms of resources that are going to be coming back into Lancashire, and they will be support services basically predicated on the sorts of issues that businesses have been telling us are the challenges that they've got as they start to work their way through COVID.